Hello, I'm Lorianne Lumby, and this is the Way of Love video and podcast. The Way of Love video podcast is an inspirational journey into the ultimate purpose of our lives, to remember our true nature as love. Gathering wisdom and insights from ancient wisdom traditions, I will piece together and present the knowledge and tools we need to transcend division and return to love. What begins as an individual journey blossoms into a movement that has the potential to change our very world. Be that love, be that change. I'm Lorianne Lumby, and this is The Way of Love. And our topic this week is division, specifically the cause of division. I spoke in earlier videos about the division and the separation that rules our world. There have been many theologians, religions, etc., that have tried to grasp an understanding of and explain the cause of the separation and conflict that seems to define our human relationships. One of those stories is the story of Adam and Eve, or at least the way in which that story has been interpreted by Western religious traditions. Now, I could give a whole entire talk on that story, where it really came from, and why it became a metaphor for a particular race of people who were forcibly removed from their home and made to live as slaves in exile to another kingdom. That may be the topic of a future video. But for today's purpose, that Adam and Eve story has been used to strike fear, guilt, and concern into the hearts of humanity. Some suggesting that because of the sin of our original parents, I would say our archetypal or metaphorical parents, some would suggest that that sin, that original sin, is the cause of human separation. Well, that's an interesting way of mythologizing a fact. The human experience is defined by separation. And mythology is created to explain the unexplainable. Because ultimately, we don't know. We don't know or understand exactly how humanity evolved or how we evolved to be cognizant, intelligent, reasoning beings, and how that very gift of reasoning also has become our Achilles heel, because of that gift of reasoning has created for us an opportunity to understand and experience our own uniqueness within the human journey. I can't be Lori Lumby and experience my life as Lori Lumby without that sense of uniqueness, of separation, that I am unique and whole unto myself and different than other human beings. The same is true for all of us. What many religions have cast or presented as a curse is actually a gift. A gift because if we subscribe to the theory of evolution, we evolved as a species out of a species that came before us, or several species that came before us. And that at some point, that animal species, which functioned like most other animals, mostly on instinct, without the gift of a reasoning, conscious mind. Now, we might argue that animals don't have reasoning and consciousness. But for the sake of our discussion here today, let's just say that human beings evolved beyond other species in our ability to reason, discern, exercise truth, make decisions and choices for ourselves. A concrete example of this, because no other species on this planet has done this. Human beings have reasoned ourselves, chosen ourselves to the point, to the edge of our own extinction. No other species has done that. Nor are they able to, and neither would they want to. So here we have an example of our reasoning mind doing a disservice to us. Instead of supporting us in thriving and surviving on this plane, our reasoning mind has caused us to fear, to cling, to grasp, to chase after, to hoard, to be greedy and gluttonous, to have no regard for the well-being of our planet or the well-being of the food that we grow on this planet. I digress. This very real experience of separation that religion has called original sin, I would argue, is not sin. Yes, the separation is real. Yes, the division is authentic. Yes, the symptoms of that division are very real. The tangible examples of human beings acting in non-loving ways towards themselves and towards others. The only way that we can act in those non-loving ways is from a place of separation. If we are whole and content within ourselves, and we understand our intimate connection with all other human beings, with this planet, with every creature on this planet, with this universe, if we understood that intimate connection and how non-loving actions come back to us, we would only choose love. If we understood and remembered the love that is our original nature, the love that we are, we would only act in loving, collaborative, harmonious, cooperative ways. We would not seek to grasp after. We would not hoard. We would not gather material things around us as if we're waiting for the apocalypse or the world to end. We would not take more than what we need when our fellow human beings are dying and starving and homeless. We would do none of these things because love calls us to be mindful of every species and plant and space upon this planet. This division that religion has called original sin, and then taken that original sin and used that as the reasoning behind human beings' non-loving behaviors, or what religion calls sin. You know, murder, stealing, incest, rape, adultery, saying God's name in vain, deception, betrayal, coveting, hoarding, grasping, all of those things that the external outside perceived authority calls sin, and then wields this judgmental, God created in human beings' image as punisher for that sin. That is the reason and explanation and the guillotine of punishment that religion holds in its hand as a threat against humanity and against humanity's actions. Essentially saying, change your behavior or you won't be loved. As if behavioral change in and of itself is easy or enduring. Having been raised Catholic, I know the pattern, the tradition, the custom of Catholics going to confession, reconciliation on Saturday night so they can go to Mass, receive the sacrament, and then they go out Saturday night and sin some more. Come back the next Saturday, confess their sins, go to Mass, sin some more. Obviously, behavioral change in and of itself is not enduring. Neither is it the remedy to the division and the symptoms of division that plague humanity. When asked about the nature of sin, Jesus himself said, "There is no sin." So how is it that Western Christianity has been based on the foundation of curing us of original sin, making us feel guilty for the ongoing patterns of sin, because apparently that baptism didn't really take care of it, and then expects behavioral change to be enduring and helpful? If the teacher that inspired Western religion himself said there is no sin, then what happened? That same teacher goes on to elaborate on that idea that there is no sin and acknowledges that indeed human beings are plagued by non-loving actions. But these non-loving actions in and of themselves are not evil, are not condemnable, and neither should they be punished. Instead, this teacher observed and taught and demonstrated himself that at the heart, the core, the cause of our non-loving behaviors is deep woundedness. Deep woundedness that arises out of that pain of separation. So let's talk about that separation in a couple different ways. The first way would be the theological approach. If a theistic creator, divinity, source, God is in your language, is part of your language and belief system, that first cause of separation is the moment that we chose the human experience. And the consequence of making that choice is separation from source. When we are one with source, our original nature is one with source. We know peace, contentment, love, joy. We know nothing else. We know absolutely nothing else. So choosing the human experience in choosing the human experience, we suddenly feel something other than love, comfort, contentment, peace, joy. And at that moment, when we are consciously able to feel that separation, and maybe it's unconscious or pre-conscious, what erupts out of that separation is fear. Fear is the natural reaction, response to being taken out of what we had formerly known as only bliss. That fear, that wound of separation, is the cause of all of our non-loving behaviors. It is the cause. It's at the heart of it. Let's take a look at that separation from a physical, biological perspective. Every human being is born of a mother. When we are in the womb, we feel nothing but union with Mother. We hear and feel her heartbeat. We feel the rhythm of her breathing. We are warm and cozy in the amniotic fluid that surrounds us and holds us buoyant, supported all around us, free from gravity in a sense. All of our needs for nourishment are being provided endlessly without having to ask for it. It comes unbidden. It comes simply by the nature of our presence in the womb and that attachment to the umbilical cord and the mother's placenta and the nutrients that are in the amniotic fluid. We are surrounded, content, safe, peaceful. And then suddenly, some force, some movement beyond us pushes and squeezes and expels us out of our mother's womb and out of what was once warm and comfortable and dark and cozy. We are blasted into cold, bright light, noises, voices, sounds. And around us is the energy of fear. It is scary being born. It's scary witnessing a birth. In that moment of being expelled from the womb and the umbilical cord is cut, we suddenly know separation. And we are afraid. Where is our mother? Where is that comfort? What happened to where I was? Why am I hungry? Why am I thirsty? Why do I not feel safe? That is another way of understanding that core wound of separation, that first moment of knowing that we are outside of the place that kept us safe. And we come to know fear. Then, as we are growing, as we are experiencing the woundedness of other human beings, that fear either finds comfort or, probably both, and or it finds more reasons to fear. Because every single human being is only acting out of their woundedness. And the degree to which we have healed that woundedness dictates our behaviors. Behaviors are not changed from the outside by simply deciding, I'm not going to steal anymore. I'm not going to swear anymore. I'm not going to harm another person anymore. I'm not going to harm myself anymore. Changing our behavior only happens when we heal those wounds within ourselves that were caused first by that moment of separation and then are compounded by what we experience in our growing human life. So what religion will call sin, what religion would want to punish, what religion would want to judge and condemn, the way of love says, instead of condemning the behavior, let's look deeper. Let's look deeper at the wounds that created this non-loving behavior in the first place. And how might we, one, do the work of finding healing for the wounds within ourselves that cause us to act in non-loving ways? Number two, how can we help others, support others in getting help and healing for their wounds as well? That great teacher that I mentioned earlier, along with saying there is no sin, also said, judge not. Because before you change that, because we cannot judge others on their behaviors. We cannot judge others on their woundedness. Instead, we are invited to seek compassion and understanding, knowing that when others act in non-loving ways, it's because of a wound. It's not personal. It's because of a wound inside of themselves. The non-loving behavior doesn't make them evil or to be hated or demonized or condemned. The non-loving behavior is a call for help. I'm wounded and I want to heal from these wounds so that we might all remember our original nature as love. And as we heal those wounds, we heal the separation within and between us. And as we heal those wounds, we are more and more able to function and act and experience life simply as love. Healing those wounds of separation is the way of love. And it is in healing those wounds for ourselves, modeling it for others, supporting others in similar healing, that we can begin to change our world. and change our world not in temporary ways, but in ways that endure and persist and cannot be undone. The cause of division is that moment we experience separation. The deepening of that division arises out of our woundedness. And it is healing that woundedness that we become whole and that we remember that we are love. I'm Lorianne Lumby, and this is The Way of Love. If you found this video to be helpful and supportive, please like and share. Please subscribe to this channel, this podcast. And if you're interested in the services and programs that I offer at Soul School, please check out my website, www.loriannelumby.com. Thank you. Be that love and be the change.